Hello everybody, my name is Slosking and welcome back to yet again another video. In today's video we are going to be debunking another has-been take. This take is a YouTuber from Mooney Owl, and this video is about apparently Charlie being the worst character and being a selfish main character. If you all enjoy this video, please like and subscribe and ring that weird bell so you know what videos I am going to be cooking up. Maybe. But anyway, hope you all enjoy this video, and let's begin. Also, just one quick qualification. The footage I recorded for this video, it is sadly not in sync with the video. So, the screen you're about to see, or the footage you're about to see, I kind of made it all glitchy and blurry so you kind of can't see it, because again the audio is sadly not in sync with the video. I recorded this video so many times, but every time it was silent, but it finally worked. The audio finally works, but it's sadly not in sync with the video. I know that's not what you all wanted, but I think you kind of just have to listen to the audio of this video. So if you want to watch the original video, is in the link in the description below. But sorry about this, I tried, but that's all I can do. But enjoy the video, please.
Not like Charlie Morningstar as a character. Yes, she's a sweet demon who's just trying to rehabilitate her people, but her character is just awful, and I want to get more into her specifically and her relationships when it comes to other characters, because she is not as good as she pretends to be. In my Has Been Hotel Season 2 video, I did touch upon the problems I have with her, but oh, trust me, I have many issues when it comes to her character. And I don't dislike this show, but the issues I have are very frustrating to see, because I just want to shake her back and forth and tell her to stop being so incredibly stupid. This is going to be a bit shorter of a video, but I still hope you enjoyed the ride. So spoilers ahead in case you have yet to watch season 2 of Has Been Hotel. If you don't care about spoilers, then let's get into it. The best way I can describe Charlie as a character is both boring and overstimulating. In season 1, I did see her as a nothing character, which is crazy because she is supposed to be the main character, but almost everyone else is more interesting, mainly the male characters, which is the same problem with Hello Boss, where female characters have little to no character. At least in Has Been Hotel, it's slightly better, but that's not saying much. Unfortunately, Charlie just isn't an interesting main character. If anything, she feels like a side character in her own show.
Now, I do kind of agree. Now, Charlie in season 1, even though I still liked her in that season, she actually did feel like a side character in my personal opinion. Again, I still enjoyed Has Been Hotel season 1, but Charlie as a main character in season 1, she felt like more like a side character. There were a lot more better, interesting characters than Charlie. But in season 2, personally, she felt more like a main character because she had more screen time and we get to see more of her personality and her struggles. You guys clearly asked for her to get screen time. We get to see her have more screen time, and yet you still whine about it. So I don't know what to fucking do. She feels more like a main character in season 2 more than season 1 in my personal opinion.
The concept of a hotel to rehabilitate sinners is interesting, but I don't think she really thinks about the ramifications of this, because let's be honest, a lot of the people here deserve to be here and do not deserve the opportunity to go to heaven. So essentially, she wants to send horrible and grimy sinners to heaven, and in heaven, some of these angels are probably victims of these same sinners, and now they just have to accept the fact that they have to coexist together. Just because she feels they deserve rehabilitation and going to heaven, the angels who live there don't have to feel the same way. I can imagine them being angry that they have to coexist with them. But Charlie is not going to care about that, because that is a pattern we repeatedly see in season 2.
Now, I do actually agree with the first half of that point. Yes, since this is hell, and a lot of these sinners generally do deserve to be in hell, it is pretty jarring to see a sinner being redeemed in, heaven. Because, like, for instance, what happens if I was murdered and I got sent into heaven, then a few years later, that same murderer who murdered me is now up in heaven with me? That would be pretty jarring. But you literally saying Charlie would just ignore it all that doesn't sound Charlie at all. Yes, Charlie is an optimistic girl who obviously thinks over her head, but even if she, like, for instance, even if she does ignore it, she clearly is gonna get called out for it. She's gonna get called out for it, and then she will find something to deal with it. That's like every main character flaw. Like, she's gonna get called out for it even if she ignores the criticism. You know, like in episode 3, which I know you're going to bring up.
Season 2, and this is where I start to actually dislike her because she is too caught up in her own ideas to really see this. She doesn't listen to reason and constantly is pushing boundaries because of her own goals, now realizing this could affect the ones she cares about. Even when told by Vaggie out of everyone to not do something, she completely brushes her off, does it anyway, and then is shocked when it doesn't go as planned. Getting an interview with Vox or anything associated with him is just a horrible idea because he is one of the overlords. Overlords are corrupt and evil, and since he controls the news, he controls the narrative and information sinners get to see. But again, Charlie doesn't consider any of this. Angel Dust himself even tells her this is a really bad idea to let them into the hotel. This first happens in episode 3. She calls an interview with Vox Tech for the hotel because she found out through Emily that Serpentius is alive in heaven because he was able to actually rehabilitate himself. But the problem is she has no proof of this happening and has no idea how to make this happen again, so she pressures Angel Dust to be essentially her guinea pig. Again, pushing boundaries, which Angel Dust tries to tell her no, but she doesn't stop. She even tries to pressure Angel to tell her what sin he committed, and he tries so hard to tell her she doesn't want to and is clearly uncomfortable, but Charlie does not care about that. Nothing else matters to her but to prove her theory right about rehabilitating sinners. So Vox tells her that Angel Dust's sin is murder, and Angel Dust gets very upset. Charlie demands Vox to leave, and he tells her, well, you asked. And I agree. If Vox didn't say anything, Charlie would have kept asking because she can't take no for an answer.
Now it's time for my favorite word in the dictionary. Context. Now, I will obviously admit something here. Yes, obviously what Charlie did in this episode was bad. Inviting the V's over to the hotel, even though Angel does pretty much have bad blood with them because of Valentino, and pretty much not respecting Angel Dust's boundaries, that is bad. I'm not gonna lie, that is obviously bad. And the show clearly calls her out on it. What she did was bad. But you clearly need to understand why Charlie did this. And you literally pointed it out when you talked about it. And it's pretty much obvious why she did it. The reason why she did this is because she was pretty much in over her head. May I remind you, people in the show have made fun of Charlie's concept of redemption. Everyone in hell has done it. Vox, Adam, Alistair thinks the whole concept of redemption is stupid. I think even her own father, Lucifer, said it's not that much of a good idea. So when an angel she knows named Emily comes up to the hotel and quickly says, by the way, heaven's in lockdown and one of your friends is alive in heaven, Charlie is clearly gonna get excited and go in over her head and be like, yo, my concept of redemption actually works. So I'm going to get an interview and tell everybody that, hey, my concept of redemption worked. But the sad part about it, that she didn't have any evidence and she was pretty much in over her head about it. And yeah, that was pretty much the problem with Charlie. She was in over her head and she couldn't take no as an answer because she was forcing Angel Dust to prove everyone that, hey, redemption is possible. But she kept on failing, making herself look worse and stupid in general. And one led to another, and whoopsie, Vox told everyone on camera that Angel Dust is in hell because he killed his father. So yeah, that was pretty much Charlie's fault. That's why Charlie couldn't take no for an answer. Since she obviously found out that sinners can be redeemed, she was sadly forcing it on Angel Dust to prove that redemption is possible and people can be redeemed. And obviously that sadly backfired. But that doesn't make Charlie a bad person because, again, she literally gets called out in the episode itself that you criticize.
her because her sorry means nothing. You can't keep making the same mistakes over and over again and think sorry will actually fix it. So after she can't prove rehabilitation to Vox, the hotel starts to look bad with Velvet slandering her on the internet. So what does Charlie do after this? Ding ding ding, she gets another interview with Vox Tech to try to clear her name.
You stupid.
And this is another example of her never listening to anyone else because Vaggie tells her before this is not a good idea. Vaggie knows Vox and his crew are no good, but Charlie doesn't listen. And to help her try to rehabilitate the hotel, she brings Nifty out of anyone. And to no one's surprise, the hotel is now seen even worse off, to the point where a lot of the sinners are now leaving it. It's like a repeated pattern with her, and it gets annoying quick. She doesn't listen, things go wrong, and she tries again, and then the pattern just repeats again. And then she has the nerve to say she's the princess when she's practically getting trampled over. You don't act like it. So why should anyone respect you? You are both a complete pushover. But
okay, the thing that really bothered me about this Charlie Morningstar hate is that why the fuck do so many of y'all have a problem with her going to 666 News and clearing the name of a has-been hotel? Okay, now say out loud, yes, I can see why, because 666 News is owned by Vox Tech, and they will obviously spin the media. Makes sense, but at least Charlie is doing something about it. She's trying her best to do something about it. She's trying to clear the hotel's name. Why is that a problem? She's doing something. Because I bet you now, if Charlie straight up did nothing, you will all still complain about it. I bet you that now that you will also complain about it if she didn't do nothing. And yes, it was a stupid idea to bring Nifty, but who is going to take care of the hotel? If Charlie brought Vaggie with her, who is taking care of the hotel? It's not going to be Angel Dust, it's not going to be Husk, and it's definitely not going to be Nifty. We literally got an episode of Nifty taking care of the hotel, and she obviously wrecks the place, so she has to bring someone that wasn't Vaggie. Even if Charlie said all the right words at the news broadcast, they're still gonna spin it and just say the hotel is still shit. So I'm not gonna lie, Charlie was in the right for literally trying to clear the hotel's name. At least she did something, and yet you still fucking complain about her doing it.
In episode 5 of season 2, Charlie does her best to contact the Angels, specifically Emily, because if she can get physical proof that Sir Pentious is alive, the sinners could finally believe her, and this would undo all of the harm that Vox has done. So meanwhile, as a way to help, Vaggie gets the idea to contact Charlie's father Lucifer and ask him to smite Vox. Turns out, Lucifer is completely useless. He is unable to smite sinners or really do any harm to them because that is his punishment, to be stuck with them. Vaggie convinces him to just intimidate Vox so he would finally back off, but unfortunately that's not going to work because he already knows that Lucifer can't smite him. So after Lucifer just gets completely embarrassed, Charlie actually does get in contact with the Angels and they go to apologize with gift baskets. But the sinners are not having it, especially because their new leader was just threatened by a fallen angel, and now all of a sudden they should trust them, especially after years of extermination. They want revenge. And then Sarah goes and makes it even worse by saying this is why the extermination exists, because of sinners like Vox who are completely evil. But this just makes the sinners hate them even more, so they have no choice but to retreat, leaving Charlie devastated. So when Charlie finds out Lucifer is technically behind this, she absolutely flips out. And here's another reason why I don't like Charlie, because when it comes to Katie Killjoy, who completely makes a mockery out of her, the hotel, and in front of thousands of demons, she's angry, but she isn't full-blown freaking out at her like she is at Lucifer, only trying to help. And who is her father, destroying the table, screaming at him. She is going full-on demon mode, even though technically he didn't do anything wrong. And then next, when she finds out Vaggie is the one who made the plan, she flips out on her next, and Vaggie is reasonably angry at her and calls her out for all of her awful behavior this season, but Charlie refuses to listen. A lot lot of the things that have went wrong for the hotel this season is directly her fault because she wouldn't stop. This episode in particular made me so mad because Charlie is such a massive hypocrite. She will gladly be pushed around by sinners and other demons she has no connections to, but when it comes to the characters she supposedly cares about, she pushes their boundaries, screams at them, she abandons them, and says such horrible things.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm so glad that Charlie, in that same episode you were complaining about, got called out by Vaggie. And even in the next episode, Charlie literally told Vaggie that, yeah, she took it too far. She's in the wrong. Charlie herself calls herself a hypocrite. This begs the question, like, are you watching the same show or a different show? I also just want to preface this too. Yes, I do understand that Vaggie and Lucifer tries to scare off Vox so he wouldn't stop bad-mouthing Charlie and the hotel. It pretty much shows how much Vaggie and Lucifer cares about Charlie and the hotel she built. But here's the problem. Vaggie and Lucifer did it in the wrong way possible. Charlie is a person who doesn't really go out threatening people to not badmouth the hotel. She would literally do stuff peacefully. That is Charlie as a character. So when Lucifer literally shows up at Vox event, literally showboating that he's the strongest sinner in all of hell, like, no, Charlie wouldn't do something like that. So that's why she got mad at her father for doing that. And also, the reason why Charlie didn't listen to Vaggie is because Vox literally declared fucking war all of heaven. That's all in her mind right now. Like, come on. You should clearly know this, why she wasn't listening to Vaggie. Yes, I can understand Vaggie doing this behind her back because she really wanted to help. Yes, I understand that. But Charlie was trying to do it a peaceful way, but sadly, all that went to shit because Vox declared war of all of heaven.
Lucifer is another nothing character. It's season 2 now, and we still don't know why Charlie and Lucifer were estranged to begin with. We aren't given anything. All we know is that they don't really talk anymore. In the pilot, he did seem more serious and intimidating, so it seemed originally things were going to be a little more toxic between them, and there probably was going to be bigger reason why the two were estranged from each other. But
okay, I'm actually going to be completely honest with you. There's no way that you say Lucifer is a quote-unquote nothing of a character, even though we get to see his personality, we literally get to see his relationship with his daughter, we literally see his first kind of like rivalry with Alistair. Yes, it was brief in season 1, I do agree, but we kind of see more of that in season 2. Like, we even get to see a bit of a snippet of his backstory in the beginning of season 1, and yet you saw all of this and you still think he's a nothing of a character. This kind of just proves that you don't even watch the show properly.
Charlie and Lucifer were estranged to begin with. We aren't given anything. All we know is that they don't really talk anymore. In the pilot, he did seem more serious and intimidating, so it seemed originally things were going to be a little more toxic between them, and there probably was going to be bigger reason why the two were estranged from each other. But here, it doesn't make sense because he's incredibly sweet to her. Whenever she asks for a favor, he does it. If anyone threatens her, he will gladly come to defend his daughter. So I can't for the life of me understand how Charlie treats him the way he does. She is so desperate to get in contact with her mother Lilith, who essentially abandoned her to be in heaven. And it's not like Lilith can't contact her. She literally hangs up the phone on her. And while yes, I understand that Charlie obviously loves and misses her mother, her father is right here actively supporting her, and he kind of gets the short end of the stick. And even after he gets yelled at by her, he's still super nice. I honestly can't help but feel bad for Lucifer for how he's treated by the ones he loves.
Okay, so a lot of stuff was said here, and I'm going to break them all down. So you pretty much said that you don't know why Charlie and Lucifer are not really, eye to eye estranged from each other. Well, it's literally explained in the episode Dad Beats Dad that, ever since Lucifer and Charlie, ever since Lucifer and Lilith split, pretty much Lucifer hasn't really remained in contact with pretty much Charlie. And also, even in the flashback, we kind of see that Lucifer was kind of depresso sado, and he didn't really spend a lot of time with Charlie when she was a toddler. So that's pretty much the reason why they're not seeing eye to eye. You know what I mean? Also, can we stop bringing up the pilot version of Lucifer and trying to add that, oh, this version of Lucifer was going to be more villainous and more sadistic. Why did they ruin his character? I'm just going to say this now. Lucifer was always going to be a goofy character. That is just a straight up fact. Yes, I know everybody's not going to know the ins and outs of Hazbin Hotel, but Lucifer was originally going to be voiced by Weird Al Yankovic. Weird Al Yankovic. That was going to be Lucifer's original voice. That just shows you that how goofy he was going to be. And yes, Lucifer did help her daughter, but Lucifer, as I will say this again, Lucifer did it in the wrong way. Charlie doesn't go about and sing a song saying that she's the motherfucking princess of hell and tries to gloat about it. That is not Charlie. So when Charlie saw that, she didn't like that. That is not something Charlie would approve of. Yes, I know Lucifer was trying to help. It pretty much shows how much Lucifer does care about Charlie, but he did it in the wrong way. That's why Charlie was mad at him. This is something Charlie wouldn't do, and you should know this, but no, to you, Charlie is selfish for yelling at her father for doing something she would never approve of. Also, with the whole Lilith thing, yes, I can understand that when Charlie is pretty much down and sad and losing all hope, yes, she could talk to her father because her father is right there living at the hotel currently. But the reason why she calls Lilith so many times her mother is because when you look at it, when you break it down, Lilith took care of Charlie more than Lucifer. Yes, I know Lucifer does care about Charlie, but we literally see in a flashback that Lucifer was mostly in his little room, literally making ducks and being depressed, not really spending a lot of time with Charlie. So, with that account, we should piece it together that Lilith took care of Charlie more than Lucifer, and that's why Charlie has more of a connection to her mother. Yes, Lilith right now is literally in heaven, not answering any of her daughter's calls. We don't know why she's doing that, but Charlie has more of a connection to her mother because she took care of her more than Lucifer did. So I'm sorry, that is just favorite parenting 101. Yeah, Charlie is a mama's girl, but it's like she took care of Charlie more than Lucifer did. So like, it's that obvious. It's literally that obvious in the show, and yet people will call Charlie a terrible daughter.
Vaggie is an interesting character, but they almost do nothing with her, so I'm gonna call this issue the Millie treatment.
Wait, the what? Wait, hold on, what do you mean by that?
The Millie treatment being a character in the franchise, only being a mere accessory to the partner rather than being their own character. All Vaggie really is just Charlie's girlfriend, but
Okay, I can understand what you mean by this, the Millie treatment, but I'm gonna say this argument straight up doesn't work. I'm not gonna lie, when you said the Millie treatment, it legit gave me a fucking laugh, I'm not gonna lie. The reason why I think this argument doesn't work, calling it the Millie treatment, because one, yes, you base it off Millie from Hell of a Boss, and I understand your reasoning, but this argument may not even work anymore because one, Millie could straight up have character development from the upcoming seasons, and so could Vaggie. Yes, I do agree. I do think Vaggie is kind of like, she is just there. She is just Vaggie's girlfriend, and so is Millie. Millie is just like Moxie's wife. I do agree, but those two characters could straight up have character development in the upcoming seasons. Obviously, I'm not a writer of the show, so we don't know, but they could have character development. So that whole Millie treatment doesn't really work. But you know how Has-Been fans are. When we have a look of character development, people will still whine and complain about it. So, yeah.
Almost everything that she does is for Charlie and the hotel, but she doesn't even get respect that she deserves. If anything, she's a better manager of the hotel than Charlie. We see in season 2 how much work she's putting in while Charlie is gone. Vaggie puts all of her effort into the hotel, but is basically never noticed. by Charlie is the worst of it all. Their relationship is not that healthy.
Okay, I'm gonna be real with you here. I never understood that argument that people will say Charlie and Vaggie are an unhealthy couple, and people will just say because they were arguing. Like, really? That's your reason, because they were arguing? Do you know you can still be in a healthy relationship and still argue? That's like realistic. So, I'm sorry, Charlie and Vaggie are a realistic couple. They will fight, they will disagree. That is a couple. If you're going to say Charlie and Vaggie are a terrible couple because, oh, they were arguing, then I'm going to say Barbara and Linda from Bob's Burgers are a terrible couple because there's an episode where they were having an argument. So they're an unhealthy couple. Like, you see how I sound? I sound like an idiot right now.
That this is what Vox does. The whole reason Vox even showed interest in the hotel was to slander it. But when Charlie asks, why didn't you ask me? Vaggie tells her she doesn't listen. There would literally be no point in asking Charlie. Charlie acts incredibly hostile towards her and acts like Vaggie isn't on her side. Which she is. She has been the whole time. That's why she's been trying to help her. But Charlie only cares about herself and the hotel's image, even though in actuality, she's ruining the hotel herself because she's the one who let Vox Tech interview the hotel. She's the one who went to Vox Tech to try to fix the hotel's image. She did all of this to herself. Vox barely had to do a thing. It worked so well in his favor.
Hey, do you guys want to know an interesting fun fact? Do you guys know that you don't have to agree with the main character even if they're staying in character? I know! Crazy, right? It's like in those scenes that you were showing, you clearly didn't have to agree with Charlie. You obviously didn't need to agree because she was clearly in the wrong and Charlie was staying in character. It's like you weren't supposed to agree with her. Wow, that's a mind boggler right there. So this is going to be the end of the video. Now, in Mooney Owl's conclusion of this video, she did say like, oh, there's a bunch of well-written, optimistic characters, but Charlie is just sadly not one of them. I think that's just going to be an agree to disagree, because I think in my personal eyes, Charlie is a well-written character. I think she is. Can she be annoying? Yes. Can she be a jerk? Yes. Can she be selfish? Yes. But it's like that's who Charlie is. Like, she's gonna act like a jerk. She's gonna be prideful. I think people kind of tend to forget that she is literally related to the embodiment of pride, so she's gonna be prideful. But people just tend to forget that. But anyway, that's gonna be the end of this video. And I beg you all to not send any hate to Mooney Owl. I know I was pretty much angry in this video, but it's like, please don't send any hate to her. Yeah, hope you all enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, and I see you all in the next one. Bye.